Afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today, and welcome to what Gabe just told us is our very special co-hosted hug. For those of you who've joined us at the Toronto Hug before, you might know me as Julia Tarini from the Brit Agency. Some things have changed, and our agency's actually undergone some really exciting transformations this past year. So we've recognized the evolution of marketing, the power of data-driven insights, and this has led us to refine our approach in shifting from a more tactical focus to a strategic one. So with that said, we've undergone brand transformation. So now I'll introduce myself as Julia Tarini, and I'm the head of client success at Summit Bound Marketing, and we're the Toronto Hug leaders. So at Summit Bound Marketing, we leverage data to inform every aspect of our inbound marketing strategies. And this allows us to make data-backed recommendations that deliver impactful results for our clients. Now, the shift towards a strategic approach allows us to truly partner with our clients and achieve their long-term business goals. Little change aside, let's get to what we really came here for today. So, which is a transformation that HubSpot has experienced within its own ecosystem, which is the evolution of CMS Hub to Content Hub. And again, like Gabe has mentioned, we've combined forces with the Boulder Hug on this topical event to ensure we're able to reach a greater audience, to provide the opportunity to others to dive deeper into how content marketing has evolved and receive a demo on the new tool features of Content Hub, as well as share the floor to you to ask any of those burning questions that you have come up since this new tool has become available to you. So let's give a big hello or a wave in the chat to our Boulder Hug leader and my co-host, Desiree. Desiree will be monitoring our chat during today's event, so let's keep the conversation going, okay? So Desiree, I'm gonna pass it over to you.
Hello. As you can see, I am not Dustin, but I do see him in the chat. My name is Desiree Landa, and I've been helping Dustin for the past year behind the scenes of the Boulder Hug. And now as he makes the transition into taking on more speaking engagements, I'm making the transition into leading the Boulder Hug team. So don't worry, we have a few events where you'll see him come back from time to time, just in a different role than before. A little about me, I'm the agency marketing manager for HIVE Strategy, and I've been with the HIVE team for about 1.5 years. We are a Diamond HubSpot solutions partner specializing in the areas of digital marketing strategy and web development, and have been in the HubSpot ecosystem for around 10 years. Prior to joining HIVE, I spent the last decade in marketing, and I'm so ready to bring my skill set to the virtual table. I'm super excited for today's event and speaker. I'd like to introduce our very special guest, Gabe. Gabe is a senior product marketing manager for Content Hub at HubSpot. So who better to walk us through this conversation today? While Gabe is presenting, we ask that you interact in the chat and add your questions to the Q&A section. Some of these questions may be addressed during the presentation, but for those that aren't, we'll be sure to touch on them at the end. So stay tuned. Without further ado, I'd like to pass things over to Gabe.
Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for having me today. Just to get started, a little bit of housekeeping to start. So if you do want to rewatch this session today or share it with your colleagues, a recording will be sent out following the workshop or the webinar, I should say today, the hug. If you hear something you like, throw up a reaction, a comment in the chat. I will be keeping my eye on the chat as I'm presenting. But if you do have some questions, just not related to what we're talking about or just in general, please throw them in the Q&A. We do have Q&A at the end. That just makes it way easier for us to just see which questions we have to answer at the end there. As for me, I'm Gabe. I'm a senior product marketing manager with a focus on Content Hub and Marketing Plus, coming at you from beautiful Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And fun fact, I was actually the leader of one of the first 10 hugs ever, the Milwaukee Hug. So I do have a very special place in my heart for hugs and for what we're going to cover today. So we're just going to start with how content marketing has evolved over time. Then we're going to demo Content Hub and how it helps your team and specifically marketers stay ahead in the marketing landscape. Next, I'm going to give you a sneak peek into Content Hub's roadmap, and then we'll end with that Q&A and try and get through as many questions as possible. So to get started, This is a picture of me, if you guys couldn't tell. And this picture was taken about 12 years ago. And at that time, I actually owned a digital marketing agency called Savvy Panda. And it was around that time that we became this partner of this newer software company you might have all heard of called HubSpot. And the founders of HubSpot, Brian and Dharmesh, had created this methodology that you also might have heard of called inbound marketing. And at the center of inbound marketing was content marketing and a focus on creating content to attract customers. And it was just really a simple but very revolutionary strategy for that time. And it worked really, really well, especially in 2012 when it was still relatively new. This is an actual snapshot of our HubSpot portal from 2012 over 2013. You can see that crazy interface, for the UI at that time. But this was our agency's first year on HubSpot and implementing a content marketing strategy. And the results were just massive. But what we really loved is that it was simple, it was repeatable, and it was effective. And to be honest, it was almost like it was too good to be true, like we had some sort of cheat code or something, because it just worked so well, yet was so simple. And, for our clients, the results were also massive, and it was just like nothing they'd ever seen before. It made us look like heroes, which as an agency is always something you want to do with your clients. Now, on top of that, it worked just really well with industries with long sales cycles and complex products and services. And that was something that was previously just very difficult to market to. So in 2012, a typical content marketing strategy looked like this. You're going to write some blogs across the buyer journey. It's typically going to be about 500 to 1,000 word blogs. You put some call to actions into those blogs to some offers. You nurture the leads with some emails, and eventually some are going to convert into customers. Oh, shoot. Actually, hold on. I forgot the most important part, actually. In 2012, you had to post it to Google+. Anybody remember Google+? So just kidding, but not really kidding. But now let's fast forward to today. Content marketing is more important than ever. 84% of marketers say that content is the most important part of marketing, and 50% of content marketers will increase their investment in content marketing for 2024, and that is the highest of any marketing channel. But here's the problem. Content marketing has changed a lot over the years, and that same content playbook from 12 years ago, it's just not as effective as it used to be. So what has changed? Well, the first change is what types of content are being created. So you have video and audio displacing text, and you have Gen AI changing the content creation process and democratizing creative skills. The next change is where content is being consumed, with attention now fragmented across many channels and formats like podcasts, YouTube, video shorts, social, and so on. And the third is buyers are tuning out the noise, making it harder to stand out in that sea of content. And finally, how you create content is now more about quality and brand than it's ever been before. So to win in today's modern marketing landscape, marketers must create rich, expertise-backed content in many formats, across many channels, and keep all of that content up to date over time. They must do this while also personalizing touch points in the right places, at the right time, and with the right message. And do all of that across the entire customer journey. So today, a content marketing strategy looks like this. We're still doing everything we did before, but now we're also creating podcasts and internet TV shows, creative videos, deep long-form content, interactive content. And then we then manually repurpose it into smaller pieces and redistribute it across LinkedIn, YouTube, Spotify, TikTok, blogs, our website, newsletters, ads, SMS, and more. And because we live in a world that's now so saturated with content, we have to be much more targeted. So we can't just create this content. We have to orchestrate it like a gifted composer leading a beautiful symphony into targeted touch points at the right place, at the right time, with the right message to create personalized customer journeys. Oh, and by the way, this all has to be done with the same human resources that we had in 2012. Does that sound exhausting to you? I mean, I'm exhausted just thinking about it. It's really tough being a content marketer these days. So much so that 70% of marketers say that content marketing is harder than ever before. And 54% of marketers say content marketing tools aren't keeping up with the needs of modern marketers. So fear not, though, my friends. HubSpot gave marketers a better way to grow when we had inbound marketing, and now we're doing it again. So Content Hub is an all-in-one AI-powered content marketing software that helps marketers create and manage content that fuels the entire customer journey. So what's in Content Hub? So we have many new features that help marketers quickly and easily create and manage content, including brand voice, content remix, podcasts, AI translations, custom AI blog generator, post narration, member blog, content embed, memberships coming down to pro, AI image generator, content library, and more. And now you also may be wondering, if I'm a CMS hub or a marketing hub customer, do I get any of these new features? And you will get a few. For CMS hub, you'll get basic AI blog generator, post narration. You'll get new membership features if you have CMS Enterprise, AI image generator, and content library. And for marketing hub users, you'll get the basic AI blog generator and post narration. But if you do want to take advantage of all the features, though, you do have to upgrade to Content Hub. And we'll talk about that just a little bit more at the end. So for now, I'm going to jump into some demos. And let me just share a different screen here. There we go. All right. So now this is the first feature I want to show. And this is absolutely one of my favorites. This is called Content Remix. So really, we just talked about how important it is that we have so many channels now. We have so many formats. We have AI coming into the picture and just making it really difficult to get into all these channels and formats. And with Content Remix, I can take one piece of content and remix it into several other new pieces of content, making it really easy to get across those channels and formats in a very quick way. So let me show you how that works. So first, I'm just going to pick the piece of content that I want to start with. So for now, we have 3 different pieces that you can start from within HubSpot: a blog, a site page, or a landing page. Or I can just start from some text that I just copy and paste in. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to just choose a blog, and I'll click Add Content here. And now from here, this is where I can choose all of the derivative pieces of content that I want to create. So you can see here I have ads, audio, blog posts, images, landing pages, email, social. I like to call this a lot of times feature like a campaign in a box, because I can come in here and create everything that I need for my campaign. I can create a landing page, I can create an email, I can create my social posts, I can create follow-up blogs, and then much more, right? So when then I select these, I can then customize and give it instructions specifically to what I want for each of these assets. So for a template, for a landing page, which template do I want to use? What is the objective of this? Am I going to write an ebook? Is this going to be for an ebook on a specific offer that's related to this? Do I want to include an image in this? The email, which template do I want to use, right? And so on. For social, which network, what specific objective? Same thing with the blog, hey, first time I wrote about this time give me an entire blog about this specific section within it. And then same thing, how long do I want it? Do I want to include an image, and so on? So if I click generate here, then it's now going to start generating these assets for me. And with this, it's going to take some time. Some are going to take longer than others. So you can see my social coming up pretty quick, but the longer pieces of content are going to take a little bit more time. And then once these are created, I can actually click on this, and I can then look at it, see if it looks good. I can then, if I want to regenerate it, I can regenerate it again. And then I can save it and directly edit it right within the app. So I can take this right in the app, do more editing to it, and so on, and publish it. So this, while these are still processing, this is an example of one that was previously run here. You can see very similar to what we had done before. And I can take this, I can give it more instructions here. I can change this. I can copy and paste this if I want to take it off platform, or I can save this and take it directly in the app then and continue editing it and finish it off within the app. So within this, okay, so you can see here, these finished now. You can see what's in here and what they created. But if I go back to my dashboard, you're going to see I have templates here. So I can quickly get started with pre-created templates, or you can see I have all of my previously saved remixes. And so I can go into any remix, for instance, and I can just reuse it. So in this instance, I created like a hub and spoke strategy, or like a pillar strategy. So I could input a landing page or a blog post at the top, and then I can give it instructions to create all of the spokes. So, hey, I have my main pillar. Take this paragraph or this specific subject, give me a blog on that. Take this subject, give me a blog on that. And then all I have to do to change that, if I want to reuse this, is I just go give it a different blog. Boom, save it, and it's going to start regenerating everything for me again, right? Same thing here. Like if I want to have one that says, hey, every time I write a blog, please create my social posts for me. So every time I create a blog, I just come in here, I stick in the blog, boom, I have all my social posts and my images created for those social posts. So it's a very flexible tool and very powerful. So super, super powerful. So that's content remix. Now, one of the things that I hear about AI content is that, hey, it doesn't really sound like our business. It's got this tone to it that's a bit robotic. I don't know, I don't know if it necessarily sounds like our business. So I end up having to do a lot of work to recreate, edit, do whatever with some of this content, because it doesn't really have our brand voice and tone. And so actually we have this feature called brand voice. And so when content is actually being created within Content Remix, it uses our brand voice feature. So let me show you how that works here. So I'm going to come into my settings to initially configure my brand voice. I can say generate brand voice. And then I'm just going to come into a blog here. So I will come into this blog, for instance. I'm going to copy, actually, no, this is the blog I need, because the other one, you'll see more on that one later. So I'm going to copy my text of my blog here. I'm going to paste it in here. So this is my writing sample. I'm going to tell it what type of blog or what type of sample it is. This is a blog post. Who am I targeting with it? CEOs and marketers. And I'm going to click next. And then what it's going to do is it's going to create some personality and tone traits based on analyzing that writing sample. So you can see here, it gave me some characteristics of that. And I can go in and I can have up to 4. So I can uncheck, recheck, however I want here. And create my different personality traits, choose my different tone traits of how my tone wants to be. I can click done. And then I can also give it, you can see here, these are the personality and tone traits that we selected, but I can give it some additional context. So tell me a little bit more about your company, just so it has a little context. And I can also choose what specific channels I want to apply this brand voice to specifically. And so you can see blog, email, pages, and social are what we have right now. So this allows me to have that quick, unique brand voice within HubSpot, within all the content that HubSpot's creating through using AI. So one of the other features that we have that actually uses brand voice is our AI blog post generator. And so I personally really love this feature because when I was agency side, I remember how long it used to take to create blogs. Typically it would take, from start to finish, it would take 10 hours to create a blog. So for instance, I don't know what to write about, right? So right away, what should I write about? Okay, I can generate a topic, right? So this is going to give me a topic to write about. And it's actually looking at the previous content that I've written about to ensure that I'm not writing duplicated content. But let's say I want to use something just more general. I can just give it a topic. Hey, I want to write about data analytics. And I can be specific with my keywords, or I can have it suggest keywords for me. So I'm just going to keep it general for now. So the next thing it's going to do here is it is going to do some keyword research for me, because first I have to think about what I want to write. Then I have to do some keyword research. So you can see what it did here is it looked at some keywords and it gave me some titles. And then it looked at what the monthly search volume is and what the difficulty to rank is. So it chose some long tail keywords in this case here. So it found some gaps for long tail. If I put in a specific keyword like data analytics, you'd probably see much higher search volume and difficulty to rank. But this is working directly with SEMrush. So we have a built-in integration here with SEMrush, as you can see. And so it's finding my monthly search volume. So how many people a month are searching for this topic? How difficult is it going to be to rank for this topic? And then one of my favorites is actually keyword intent. And so this essentially tells me what stage in the buying cycle are they when they're searching for this keyword. Are they in informational intent? Are they looking to learn more about something? Are they doing research? commercial intent. Are they making specific research? Or are they doing specific research about a product or service potentially before making a purchase? Or are they transactional intent? Are they ready to complete a specific action or usually purchase something at that time? And so you can see the different keyword intent within here. And so I can choose one of these, whatever it might be, and I can click next. I can also edit the title. I can generate new. If I don't like these, I can go back and give a different keyword. I'll just choose this for now. And then what it's going to do here is it's going to create an outline for me. And so you can see a title, it did a description, it did a description for the image as well, futuristic hospital room with advanced technology. And then it gave me the different paragraph headers, which I can then add to, I can change. But then most importantly is adding specific talking points. This is where your expertise is going to come in and what you can put in, hey, make sure you're talking about this point, make sure you're touching on this point. And so the more direction you give it here, the better the outcome's going to be. So I'm then going to generate my blog post. This is going to take about 30 seconds. So I'm just going to jump over here to one that was created already with this tool. So you can see this is the blog that it created now. And you can see this is the image that it created based on the description. I'll check back in on that other one shortly here. And so really great blog that it created. It created the image for me as well. So we have, if I want to create more images within here, I can quickly do that. So if I just come down here and I say, hey, I want another image for here, which is also, you get done creating your blog. And I mean, searching for that image can be such a pain sometimes. You have to think about what type of image do I want? Then you have to search different stock sites, or you might be searching Google or whatever the case may be to find that image, but it can just be very time consuming. So let's say I'll just do something simple. I am cooking some pork verde for lunch, or I'm sorry, for dinner today. So let's say I'm just going to do some verde salsa. I can choose what type of dimensions I want and style. I'll let that pick it. So I can come in here, and this is going to generate my image. I'm going to just jump back while that's generating, has some time. So you can see here, we have our futuristic hospital room. Of course, as we know with AI, we have some text that can be off sometimes. But you can see here, this is the image and the blog that it created. Now coming back here, I can see my different verde salsa examples here. I'm going to choose this one because this looks delicious. I'm going to insert that, and I have, another image or several images that I can do within here. So the next feature though I want to show you within here, which is one of my favorites for blogs, is actually called post narration. And so with this, I can actually click this, and it pulled in all of my transcript, or I should say all the blog, not transcript. And I can come in here and then change it, because when I create an audio version, it may not read the same as what a text version would, like with headers. So I may want to change some things like that. But I'm going to, just because of the platform we use here, Bevy, for sharing audio, I'm just going to stop sharing so I can share this a little differently so you guys can hear the audio specifically on this. So I'm going to share this. And then we have 6 different voices. So let me show you what these voices sound like.
This is a sample of the selected voice. This is a sample of the
So you can see we have several different voices. Let's say I'm going to choose Onyx here. I'm going to generate. This is just going to take about 10 seconds to generate. I'm just going to take that blog, and it's going to give me an audio version of it. So for somebody who's on the go, who wants to listen, maybe somebody who has accessibility issues, they want to listen. So this just gives the option, and it's also helps you stand out a little bit more, helps people stay on the page a little bit longer to listen to this. So if I want to listen to this now,
peek into the crystal ball of data analytics, and what do you see? A mosaic of emerging trends, each a vivid.
So it sounds very, very realistic. As you can see, I'm going to add it to my blog post, and probably have to refresh it here quick. And there it is, right in my blog post for everybody to see and listen to. Now, one of the other great features that we have is actually called AI Translate. So with AI Translate, I know we had some people from Montreal in the house. I know we have some French speakers then likely, but I can very quickly translate this into other languages. And so I might actually have a French. Yeah, I already have a French translation just from a previous demo in here that you guys can all see just as far as quality and so on. So, but I'll run through this just to maybe show an Italian version or a variant that I haven't created. So I'm going to create my multi-language variant. I'm just going to choose what language that is. So I'll choose Italian just because I know I've used a few other languages on here. And all I have to do is just check this button. And this is powered by DeepL, really high quality translations. I'm going to click create here. And then it's actually going to translate this into Italian or whatever other language that I had chosen. And I can use this feature with blogs. I can use it with landing pages, or I can use it with web pages right now. And you can see I have my additional version. I'm going to switch back to my French version in case we have any French speakers in here who can kind of confirm or tell me how good the quality of this is. And then one of the other actually really great things is I can then also regenerate this in French then as well. So I removed my English version from in here, which will still stay on my English page. But then I can come into here and I can then choose a different version. So I'll choose this. I'm going to generate this. We'll insert it. And then you all can tell me how it sounds and if it is good. So how do you ensure translations are correct? Great questions. You need a native speaker. So just like with anything, you can't fully trust what it's going to generate for you. So you need to have a native speaker who can review it. But this tool has been like, with anybody who trusts translations, this has been highly popular because typically somebody who has previously used a translation agency or was manually translating it, this gets you that first 80, 90% of the way there where you can come in and then make some tweaks and so on. And so here is my French version. Let me play this.
Que voyez-vous dans la boule de cristal de l'analyse des données? Un kaléidoscope de tendances émergentes.
And then I can add it. And then I have that in my code. So if you don't have one, yeah, you're going to need somebody. So you always need to. So can you export audio files to other platforms? Yes, you can. It just saves the audio file as an MP3 format within your file manager, Steve. So absolutely, you can export it and save it out to other platforms to use. And if you don't have one, yeah, unfortunately, you're going to need some sort of native speaker to review your content. Just to make sure that everything is 100% on point. So one more blog feature I want to show here just very quickly is called Member Blog. And so if I come up here, let me come back into my English version. I can, where is it? I have this read more. And so wherever I put this read more, I can then use this feature to cut off access to this blog and require somebody to register. So we all know third-party cookies are going away very shortly. We have AI, which is consuming all our content and putting into search engines. And so this gives us a way to protect our content and to encourage people to sign up. And so I can come into my settings, I can go to access controls, and I can click this self-registration required. And then wherever that read more is where it's going to cut off the blog and require registration after that. And so if I go into, this is my live version, so to speak, or my preview version, you'll see they can see everything here. But then when they get to that read more, excuse me. Oh, you know what? I don't know if you guys can see this. Yeah, sorry. Let me reshare because I have to for the audio. Window, share. All right. So I came to my, the preview of the blog now. And you can see this is a blog and you can see it's cut off here. You have to sign up at this read more. And so I can do this on a blog by blog basis. I can do this on an entire blog basis. So I can pick and choose which ones. It's really up to you how you want to use it. So it's a very flexible feature. You get that extra conversion out of it and so on. There's only one more feature I want to show, and that is actually our podcasts feature. And so this allows you to either host or create podcasts very quickly with AI using a lot of the very similar concepts we just saw in post narration. So if I come into one of these blogs, for instance, or I'm sorry, podcasts, I can see here, I can either upload existing audio. So I can create my own podcast and I can upload this, or I can generate them from text. And so same thing, I can choose my voices. I can choose the different, I can paste in the different script or text that I want to use it within here. And then I can create that podcast, same audio quality as we had previously. And then from there, I can give it a title. I can give it some show notes. I can generate some artwork for it, and I can save it. And then it's going to push it out. You could see here, I have this RSS URL. This is going to push it then as soon as you publish that episode, it's going to push it to all your major platform providers. So your Spotify's, your Apple Music's, your Amazon Music, whoever all the different providers are. It's once you have this RSS feed, every time you create an episode, it's going to create them. You can have multiple different podcast shows within here. And so it's very simple to use, and a lot more features coming for this shortly here in the future as well. The other great thing is it's really easy to help promote this blog. So you see I have a website page. I have these modules. All I had to do for these modules is I just went and found my podcast episode module. I just dragged it in. And once I have it dragged in, all I have to do is just select the episode that I want on here. And I very quickly can add it to my site. I can use Content Remix then to then create my email for it, to create my social posts for it, and so on. And so because we want to promote it, of course, and so on. And you'll also notice one small thing. It shows you which episodes were AI generated and which ones weren't. So this one wasn't AI generated. This one was AI generated. So you could see the difference between those two. Then one more feature that I want to show before we go into our little fireside chat and talk about AI a little bit more is just Content Remix. So if you are a WordPress user and you do have your website in WordPress, you can now use any features that you would use on a landing page or a web page on HubSpot within WordPress. And so what that means is features like personalization or smart content can now be used on WordPress. You can use features like creating custom portals using the CRM data that is in HubSpot, excuse me, on WordPress. And so you can see here, this is a WordPress page. All this content, though, is coming from within HubSpot. Same thing with this form. This form is just coming within website HubSpot. I'm just choosing it. And then actually, I don't think I have it open. Let me edit this one here. You can see in HubSpot, it's just like editing a page. So I have my content in here. And for this example, I actually have two different versions. So I'm using my personalization. I just have a query parameter set up for it so that this is my CEO version and this is my default version. So somebody's coming from an ad, for instance, and I'm pushing a specific link URL from that ad. I can personalize the page to them if they are if I have a specific page on the site that I know, or a specific link that I know is for somebody specifically, I can add a specific link to it. And so then really this is then what it looks like. This is the live page, for instance. You can see this version. And then I have my query parameter here, which I'm going to add. And you can see this version is the personalized version. Now, this is just based on a URL. We have a lot of different ways to personalize based on geography or location or ads or a lot of different variables, device type, and so on. So this is just one of the ways that we can use to personalize. With that, that's all I have for demo here. I'm just going to look at the questions really quick, and then we can jump into our little fireside chat. So let's see. So we can talk about some of these, I think, in the Q&A. Let me see. Content Remix. Okay, great. Yeah. So we did. Yeah, we'll address some of these in the Q&A. So why don't I stop sharing here, and we'll get into our fireside chat.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Gabe. That was a great demo. You touched on some of the really popular tools that are in question, especially since the Content Hub has gone live. So guys, if you guys have questions, add them to the Q&A now. We'll definitely get to them in just a few minutes. But for right now, we're going to have a little fireside chat about a popular topic, not only within Content Hub, but it's been trending since the beginning of 2023, and that's AI, okay? So we have a list of questions that we're going to go through with Gabe. And you know what? These are probably questions you may have thought about in the past and weren't 100% sure on. So why not ask an expert within the Content Hub field? So Gabe, you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right. First question. What are some common misconceptions about AI's capabilities in marketing and content creation?
Yeah. So, I mean, one of them I almost addressed already is just the sound of what AI sounds like. But then two is just the quality of the content that you get. Um, the easiest way to think about the quality piece, though, is it's a bit of a process, right? It's not just saying, "Hey, give me a blog about data analytics." There's a lot more happening behind the scenes, like when we did that query in the AI blog post generator. So the more detail you give, the better quality you're going to get. It's no different than if the way I always like to think about it is AI's like your college intern or your straight out of college graduate who you just hired, right? The more detail you give them, the better job they're going to be able to do at creating that content for you. So it's the same way. If the more detail I put into my prompts, the more I put into it, the better quality I'm going to get out of it.
I think it also has to do similar to the question that Margarita had regarding translations, right? So AI is kind of like that starting point, and still great to have an expert who's in content marketing and understands content creation and keyword research and the whole buyer persona journey and process to be able to vet and optimize the content that's created, right?
Right, absolutely. And I mean, the bar has really actually increased too for just quality of content. So what quality content was back in 2012, which was a 1,000 word blog post in 2012 that you saw on like Moz.com was like mind blowing, right? 1,000 to 1,500 words. Nobody bats an eye at that anymore. You really have to raise the bar at quality. And so quality today, and it really means putting a lot of that human touch on what you do, because for instance, if I go and ask AI, hey, what is the best siding I can have for my house, or whatever question I'm going to have, it's not going to tell me. Actually, it doesn't have an opinion. It just tells me these are all the different siding options. Here's the pros and cons of that. It doesn't have an opinion. But when I go ask a siding contractor, what's the best siding I can use for my house, they're right away going to tell me it's this, right? And they're going to tell me this is why, and I have 20 years based of experience to back that up. And that's what we need to bring out in our content. We need to bring out those opinions. We need to bring out our personal stories that we had. We need to bring in experts and have different expert opinions. We need to have research. And so with these features, it helps you create the outline. It helps you create that first 80%, so you can spend all that time now in that last 20% creating something really high quality.
And that's a very good point too. AI is not the 100% answer. It's really important to put that expertise behind what you're writing and make it different from the how many other similar articles that are out there on the internet, right?
Yep, absolutely.
All right, moving on to the next one. Is Google's new policy on spam content anything to worry about when it comes to AI generated content?
Yeah, so great question, really common one that we hear. And it's not, unless you're using AI poorly, right? Google is not penalizing AI content. Google is penalizing poor content, as they always have. Think of this no differently than let's go back to 2012 when people were just keyword stuffing, right? And writing these blogs and just stuffing keywords, and they would make no sense, but they just had all these keywords in it. It's the same thing. People were just abusing AI, creating really low quality blog posts without and content without checking it. And so Google just really penalized them for it because they caught them and did that. And so as long as you're creating high quality content, it's not going to be any issue. The other thing that I want to just point out is there have been research and studies to see, can AI actually be detected? And so the answer they came up with, look, if you just run a quick query and you straight up regurgitate that answer, that can be detected. But if you run that query and then you refine the query and you refine the query, after the third refinement, it is no longer detectable by AI, or it's no longer detectable that you can say this, because it has, it's no longer that generic response. And this is based on research that was done by an AI professor, I believe, at the UPenn. I forget where he's from, but so yeah, it's really about quality at the end of the day.
Goes similar to the answer for our first question, guys. It's quality, the quantity that you can produce with just purely AI generated content. All right. Can AI generate content match the quality, authenticity, personalization of human created content? I think we know the answer to that. It depends on the cues, but also it needs that expertise behind it. So can it get you there? Can get you there part of the way, but not fully all the way to a very good piece of quality content, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you definitely have to put that human touch on it, and it's only going to get you so far. I think another way to think about this too is when you're thinking about what to write about, if you can just go into ChatGPT or Perplexity or whatever tool you're using, and you can put in a question and it gives you the same answer of what you're putting in your content, there's no point in writing that content because everybody's going to be going and either getting that result within their Google search in the first, where Gemini is and giving those answers at the top, or whether you're using Perplexity or whatever tool you're using for search now, they're just going to give you the answer. So if they're just going to have the same answer, there's no point in my eyes of writing or creating that type of content because search is going to be dropping. It's going to be going into AI responses here. And so that's a good way of having a barometer test of what additional value am I adding beyond what is in this search.
That's a very good point. And I know that the Gemini search has been introduced in the States and other countries. Canada has not yet. So we're just preparing on our end to kind of get ahead of when that is actually introduced. But it's a good point definitely to make. I think we have time maybe for one or two more questions. So let me just grab some. How can marketers measure the success and impact of AI-generated content compared to human-generated content? So I think we're following a theme here, right? It's all about quality, guys. It's all about the amount of quality information that's backed by research that you can provide.
Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, whether it's AI created or human generated, at the end of the day, you're still measuring the same way we've always measured. Now, there may be different metric focuses as early stage search is probably a lot of times going to be answered by your Perplexities and going to be answered. So there might be more of a focus now on middle to later funnel content. Whereas because early funnel content is going to start going to your search engines. Well, what can you do in your early funnel? And that is kind of that human touch to capture some of that opinion. But then also there becomes more of this focus on middle and late journey and creating really these personalized experiences, these membership experiences, and really creating stickiness. And so you'll probably see things like A/B testing and personalization, things that were like mildly popular before, but not really too deeply implemented or were at some points, are probably going to start coming back because traffic that does come to your website is going to be so much more important because there's going to be less of it coming now. And then creating a really great experience when you do have it is going to become more important. So that's going to increase the need for A/B testing and personalization and so on. So those are just some things to kind of keep top of mind as we look at, some of what's going on here.
I think A/B testing is a really good point for this because that would be a really good way just to test the difference between the two different types of content. We are at the time mark for our fireside chat. Maybe we can address some in the Q&A later on, but I'm going to pass the floor back over to you, Gabe, okay?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. So I just have actually probably 5 more minutes of content before we jump into Q&A. And I just want to show you some of our roadmap, what's coming here. Get this going again. So we had our fireside chat. You guys can all let me know what your favorite Content Hub features were in the chat. But what I really want to get to here is our roadmap and show you some of the really cool things that are coming. So you can see here, we have some things currently in development. We have some things currently being planned. I do want to preface this though with that I can, anything really I show here, I can't really give any more detail on than what I'm going to give right here. Just as all this is in the works. But the first thing you can see here is AI landing pages. So much like we had that, the AI blog experience, you're going to have a very similar experience for AI landing pages within here. You will see brand voice enhancements. So the ability to create additional brand voices and leverage them within more pieces of content. You're going to see podcasting enhancements with some premium touches for things like voice cloning to use your own voice. Generated pages and transcripts, music intros and outros, more outros, more analytics. I should say more analytics, because we don't have analytics yet as when we initially launched. So you're going to see some analytics. You're going to see import tools. You're going to see some help with creation tools within that. Also, content remix is going to get some additional content types that it can start from, but also video is coming to content remix, which is probably one of my favorite things. So you can take something like this that is a webinar and be able to remix it into other content and smaller pieces, something we're all doing on a regular basis, but is very difficult and time consuming. So imagine being able to take a video and get as much mileage as you can out of that. Memberships is going to get enhancements. We have some site speed enhancements, content operations. But then another big one is AI agents, which are going to be like your personal AI content specialists. And you can see we also have some things with new content types like case studies planned and AI video creation as well, something that'll help with like text to video creation and so on. So there's a lot of really cool things coming down the pipeline for that. And then I just have 2 more slides here. Get back to my controls, but just some pricing information on Content Hub and Marketing Plus quickly though. So you can see we have starter, professional, enterprise, and of course free versions of Content Hub. So at starter, you're going to start at $15 a month. At pro, it's going to be starting at $450 a month. And if you already have CMS, this is just a $100 increase over CMS. So you just have to pay $100 more to upgrade and get all these new features. If you're a current CMS professional user, if you're a current CMS enterprise user, it starts at $1,500 a month sticker. And so same thing, if you were a CMS enterprise user, that's a $300 increase. If you're a Marketing Hub customer or a CMS Hub customer who wants to add a Marketing Hub, we have a new bundle called Marketing Plus. And so Marketing Plus is an AI-powered complete solution that unites the power of content marketing with world-class lead generation and marketing automation tools. And so you could buy the Marketing Plus bundle pre-discounted, which includes both Marketing Hub and Content Hub, for $900 a month at Pro or $3,800 a month at Enterprise. And that's between a 25 to 30% discount off their current list prices. And that is, for instance, Marketing Hub Professional, I think, is $800 a month sticker price. So again, you're only adding $100 more over sticker to get Content Hub here and get all those additional features. So with that, we can jump into Q&A. Stop sharing here and we'll answer all your questions. And if we run out of questions, we have a bunch more, I think, that we can go through on AI as well.
Thank you so much, Gabe. That was such a great presentation. I think it really just helped a lot of everyone who's joined today get a good insight into Content Hub, visibility that perhaps they haven't had before, and just some additional explanation and dive deeper into some of these specific tools. So thank you again for joining us. So let's jump into some questions. I know there are some in the chat. I want to apologize for my dog in the background if you can hear it. So let's get to some questions. So how much of the internet is the AI tool accessing for information, and how current is it? So it's a good question because ChatGPT 3.5, 4.0, the different versions there access different years. So how does Content Hub compare in that regard?
Yeah, so we actually have this website called behindhubspotai.com. So if you guys go to that website, you can actually see for each tool what they're using, what LLM, what AI technology, whether it's HubSpot's own technology, whether it's ChatGPT, and which specific version we're using. So if you do go to that URL, you can choose each feature and you'll see all the different technology that's being used under the hood for that feature, because we do want to be as transparent with that as possible. So all the information related to that will be on there, and it's going to differ feature to feature. So instead of me giving a blanket statement about what it has access to and doesn't, I would look at that site because it's going to be specific to each feature within there. So that's probably the best spot for that information within, or to find that information there.
Perfect. And we've added that link in the chat. So for those who are interested, please find that link there. Okay. Next question. How much longer will the beta periods be running?
Beta periods are really just till we get as stable as we want the product to be. So for some of these, they could be relatively soon. For some of them, it could be another 6 months to a year. I would follow up with that and ask, what is there a specific reason you're waiting for them to come out of beta? Sometimes, honestly, we just like to wait and see how the market's going to react to certain features, or maybe that's not actually maybe not so much the reaction, but just it's mainly seeing that we want to see stability within the feature, and there may be coming changes to the feature that we don't want to put a label of, released fully generally accessible yet. So we'll keep that in beta sometimes.
Perfect. Yeah. So like if you have access to the beta, it's not going to be going anywhere. If anything, it just may become more public or advertised more, discussed more, or evolved more. But really, like if you have access to the beta, you're able to still use and not lose the tool, right?
Yeah. And whenever, there's different types of beta. So we have private beta. So private beta is not released to the public yet. Only certain people who are testing it have access to it. We have public beta, which will do public betas before we launch a feature potentially. But then we have generally available public betas too, where, hey, we've launched the product, but we've decided to keep this in beta. It has a high degree of reliability, but it may not be perfect, but it is good enough where, customers are going to get value from this product. So there's no sense in us holding it back at this point. Like Content Remix is still in beta, for instance, but it's a very usable product. It's a very popular product that a lot of people love, but we're still making a lot of improvements. We're adding things like video. So there's a lot more to come. So we haven't yet put that GA label on it yet.
Yeah, and that was actually very insightful when you shared what's coming and what's being planned. So thank you for sharing that little insight for you all.
Yes.
Join today's hug. Okay. Can pillar pages be created in Remix? Good question.
Yeah. So yes and no. So there's no like specific pillar page function, but we do have blog and we do have landing page options for it to create content based on an original piece of content for that. So you can, for instance, say, give me a long form landing page and give it direction on what you create, or give me a long form blog and use that as the basis for your pillar page. But we don't necessarily have something directed specifically for pillar pages. But when you're creating that blog, you do have that objective section where you can type in specifically what you want. So you can give it directions and say, this is going to be a pillar page. Make sure to include this. And that does give it context into what it's creating then to be able to create a pillar page. So you can use it to create pillar pages, but it is not a specific pillar page function for that creation.
And I think too, if you're creating blogs and you're creating like a series of blogs surrounding a specific topic, that kind of helps to mold the layout for a potential pillar page as well. So that could be another way of using it too, right?
100%, 100%. I mean, that's one of my favorite use cases, is actually having that initial pillar page and then building out all the spokes below it. It's such a big time saver.
That's the thing. This is a big time saver, but still you need the human touch, guys. All right. For image generation, I'm assuming the AI creates the image based on other images it finds on the internet. Is there any potential copyright infringement around that? Very good question.
Yeah, I mean, for right now, no. This is honestly still a gray area, and there's no way that we're going to know the final answer to this up until somebody brings some lawsuits and the courts decide on what it is, right? But for now, we've seen that we don't see legal issues surrounding this, or it's safe, and that we see it's safe to use, but we don't know what the future holds. So I'd say this is a little bit of a gray area, but for now, we would never release a product that we didn't feel was safe to our customers. For now, we definitely feel like this is safe. There's lots of people from legal who are reviewing things like this for us. And we do have a page, I think it's HubSpot.com AI-ethics, something along that URL, where we talk about this a little bit more, and you can see, our full stance on the ethics behind this and making sure that we're not infringing on somebody's copyright and so on. So you can learn more about it on that specific page.
Wonderful. Okay, I have one more question so far that someone sent through, and it's a little bit stepping away from AI, but where is it? It was in the chat, and it was actually about email marketing. So pretty much it was around, is email marketing still included in inbound marketing? And I would think yes, especially for lead nurturing, especially in the B2B world. Email marketing is still alive and kicking. It's just you need to strategize where it's best to use it within your specific strategy and who you're trying to attract. Would you agree, Gabe?
Yeah, 100% agree. I mean, we still use at HubSpot a lot of email. We still have very, very high demand for email and usage within our, our app for email. Some of the Content Hub features that we have that were most requested were to like add AI translate to email. There's very much still a big appetite for email, and people are still using it as an effective strategy. 100%.
Awesome. Okay, let's see if we can get a couple more of these AI questions in, maybe one more. How can marketers ensure that AI generation content aligns with their brand voice and overall messaging? You touched on that with the brand voice tool, so let's skip that one. How can AI help in personalizing content for different decision makers within a target account?
Sorry, say the question one more time.
Yeah. How can AI help in personalizing content for different decision makers within a target account?
Yeah, no, love this question actually. And so I actually personally use this because I actually had to create a lot of the demo content for Content Hub. And so AI was actually really, really great for this because I would pretend I'm creating some real content for these people. And I had different personas. I had different people that I was writing it for. And that's all in the instructions that you give it. So when you give it those instructions for the specific, I'm writing this for this specific buyer, I'm writing it. And the more characteristics you give it, the better. One of the things you'll also see that's on our roadmap is doing that natively for you. So we're exploring some options where you don't have to necessarily put those instructions in. It'll be built in and it'll know the different ICPs, the different personas within your target market, so that it's automatically doing that every single time it generates content. So that's something that's being explored. But no, AI is really great for this, and being able to say, even if you have a specific piece of content that you've written already, and then saying, hey, now write this exact same thing, but write it for this target persona, this target voice, for these specific triggers, it'll then work all that in. So yeah, again, it's very much so about how you prompt it and just learning to use it to its full potential there.
Exactly. It's all about cues too, right?
Yep.
Last question, and I think I know the answer, but I'm interested to see how the Academy has been updated. So do they have a certification or lessons within the Academy now for Content Hub, or are those still being developed?
Yeah, we do have some content for Content Hub in there. There is more being developed. I know I'm working on some things with them right now for more things to come. So yeah, there's some content in there, and there's more coming.
Awesome. All right, Gabe, thank you so much for your time today. Thank you for answering all of our questions and just really educating us further on Content Hub. Desiree, it was a pleasure co-hosting this hug with you, and congratulations on your first hug as host for the Boulder Hug.
And congratulations on your new branding, your new.
Thank you. Thank you. And everyone, we will be sending out the recording. We'll be sending out the slide deck. So if you have colleagues that could benefit from even receiving the demo, please feel free to share it with them, and stay tuned as we post upcoming events to both the Toronto and Boulder Hug pages. Okay. And Gabe, thank you again.
Absolutely. Thanks all. Thanks so much.
Have a good day. Bye.